Louder Than Life 2025, what an experience. Honestly, I have nothing from my perspective negative to really say that was so detrimental that I would never go again. On the contrary, it was so fun that I have full intention on going every year that I can. To the staff at Louder Than Life and DWP, I saw that you guys did a survey and I wanted to kind of put faces and voices with the issues that people may have been having. So what I did is I reached out via social media and asked anyone if they wanted to be interviewed and talk about Louder Than Life. And oh my gosh, so many people wanted to talk. And I talked to as many as I could with what time I had. I had probably every bit of 30 to 40 interviews somewhere in there, but unfortunately, my hard drive took a crap. I do have some clips remaining, but not a lot. Not enough to give you the scope that I wanted to provide you, because people would talk about how they liked it, how they didn't like it. I had a lot of people talking about some of the issues they were having and they noticed from other people as well. And I just wanted to put that in a comprehensive video, present it to you guys and be like, look, this was a more boots on the ground approach to collecting data versus doing a survey where people don't get to exactly voice their opinions on it too much. So I can highlight some of the talking points, because as I was doing it, I was taking notes because I'm a nerd. And since I'm aware of you guys being kind of busy, I'll go ahead and start with the negatives first, and then we'll get to the positives later, so we end this video on some good notes, right? I think you guys are most likely aware of this stuff via the social media responses and stuff and your survey as well. But I'm just going to reiterate a couple of things just in case maybe it fell through the cracks. Who knows? So some of the top complaints.
The watering stations were just so like in one spot.
More water stations. We need one by main stage.
I will say the water stations, absolutely. Please put more water stations.
I'd say anywhere from like 70 to 80% was talking about water stations. The biggest one that was talked about the most was there wasn't enough. That's kind of fair. Y'all did add a third one the second day moving forward. When talking with enough people, you start brainstorming with each other, and we came up with the idea of maybe having water stations, having them smaller but more and throughout. You make them smaller, you make them more frequent, it breaks things up a little bit more. It could make traversing the festival a lot easier. Another thing that people complained about was that it got warm. I don't think there's really much you can do about that. It's in September in Kentucky. It's going to be hot. Another point of contention was shade.
I feel like they could have had definitely more shade options.
Shade was a big one. A lot of people were utilizing the rectangular art pieces that were every so often, huddling under tents for like the Jack Daniels tent, huddling under the Big Bourbon tent and stuff, just to try to, you know, beat the heat. Headbangers Hall was pretty much loaded the entire time. I do have this one written down specifically. So it's awesome that the areas for people with disabilities, they have their own water areas, they have their own toilets and stuff like that. That's amazing. I love that. Now we can do better though. And here's how we do better. We shade those areas for them specifically. They're sitting in their wheelchairs, their walkers, etc., etc. They're not as mobile and stuff like that. So let's just do something a little more for them. So the last big issue that people talked about was crowd surfers. It's one of those double-edged swords, right? On the one hand, you are at a festival where there is a ton of people down in the pit area. So of course, people want to crowd surf. Now, there's nothing wrong with that to a degree. There are some extreme ends that people need to be a little more aware of. And what I'm trying to talk about is looking at it from a production standpoint as best I can. Now, I noticed in between some of your sets that you guys had video screens up and y'all would play advertisements and stuff. But hear me out. What if we did a crowd surfing for dummies kind of styled video, right? Make it to where you can teach kindergartners. No. I need more of a challenge to teach. Make it to where you can teach the Marines how to crowd surf. You do that, you're good to go. So in between sets and stuff, especially where you got a lot of crowd surfers, let's pop up some videos on how to properly crowd surf, and maybe also putting something out there like kind of being self-aware. You know, this isn't about body shaming. This is about safety. If you are a heavier set person, you shouldn't be up there. I'm just gonna be completely honest. That is not a hot take. That is a safety matter. I'm 6'2", 285. You will not catch me up there. Not fucking once. So have something up there about being a little self-aware, maybe proper crowd surfing technique and stuff, as well as if there is a safety issue, how to bring people back down safely instead of this chaotic nature that we were seeing. Now, the first 3 issues were the biggest issues by far, as in over 60% was talking about these issues. The next ones fell between the 35 to 50% range. It wasn't the majority. The one that I want to talk about the most was security. Security was very lackadaisical, and I truly feel if I wanted to, I could have potentially snuck something in with the intent to hurt somebody. I was top shelf VIP. I got waved through so much. I feel is a little unacceptable. I will say that the security at the rails and stuff was really awesome at handing out water to people. I will say there needs to be more for medical emergencies moving forward. You know, people that are medically trained in order to like just not dive into the crowd, but people to just roll off into the crowd. That way, whenever there are medical emergencies, they're able to get to them. Another one that I wanted to talk about, and this is coming from a little bit of place of bouginess, if you will.
Reformat the VIP.
The VIP and the top shelf layouts this year, I enjoyed them a lot. However, in top shelf, we had just a smidgen of stage rail, as in like literally like just a couple feet, and then VIP had a decent amount of little stage rail over there. So now y'all said the stages are bigger, and I was like, okay, that's cool. That means VIP is going to have more. Neither side had any stage rails. Your people who are paying the highest premium, I understand the catering to them aspect is usually done through like shorter lines for food, drink, their own merch areas and stuff like that. I'd say a big part of it is people are there to see the shows too. So if there's a way maybe to, you know, cut those back in just a little bit to where VIP and top shelf has a bit of stage rail to where they can get as close as they possibly can as well too. You know, or if you're not able to, maybe a designated lot for VIP pass members and top shelf members, maybe. Thoughts? Some of the highlights that people enjoyed the most, I think the biggest one was the one that surprised everyone the most when you guys announced it, in that
I liked Kentucky Kingdom. That was really fun.
I thought it was really cool that that they got the Kentucky Kingdom this year too.
Kentucky Kingdom is now a part of the festival. So not only do you get to have your face melted off with metal shows, you get to have your ankles taken off on. But not only do you get to have your face melted off with metal shows, you do get to go enjoy some awesome roller coasters, Ferris wheels, some other rides and stuff, and have a blast over there as well too. One of the other quality of life things that people really enjoyed was the turf. The turf being everywhere, I felt was like a good thermal barrier between that hot asphalt and your own ass cheeks if you're sitting on it. I sat down on it quite a bit, did not feel much of any heat at all. Fantastic, great choice. Hope to see that come back again next year. The water being handed out at the rail, that's huge. I'm so glad that you guys were doing that. That is massive. A couple of people I interviewed were sober, and of course a metal festival is going to have a lot of alcohol and other shenanigans. They had sober areas, was fantastic according to a couple of people that I interviewed and were going on. One person just crossed a year, and the other person has been, I want to say 10 plus years sober. And the last thing that the people enjoyed the most, and I think this one almost goes without saying, is the metal community as a whole. Look, to Danny and the team that put on Louder Than Life, bringing together all these people to officially the largest rock and metal festival in the country is one of the coolest things ever. But anyways, that was everyone who I had talked to's experience at Louder Than Life. I like I said, I got to interview some very wonderful people, had some fantastic conversations. With that being said, I did this because I felt like it. I also did it because I want the festival to be as good as it possibly can be, as I'm assuming you guys do as well too. Now, with that being said, if you guys would like an influencer of some sorts, even though I'm not a huge or anything like that, if there's something you could tell DWP that would improve the overall festival experience, what would it be?
Well, first they need to hire RC to do social media.
I'm not gonna say no to that. I'm not gonna say no to that. And someone that does this stuff because they love it, I would gladly work with you or for you in whatever capacity you guys need for social media stuff. I'm gonna do it next year anyways, regardless, with or without you. So let's work together. But anyways, this is the culmination video of all the Louder Than Life interviews that I conducted after Louder Than Life, after we had a chance to digest and stuff. So I will see you guys on the next one. And yeah, Danny, hit me up. All right, peace.